November 16, 2014, from MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, was the San Francisco 49ers at the New York Giants. The Giants won the toss and they elected to defer. And so the Niners would take over first. They'd start this game on their own 15-yard line. They'd be faced with a 3rd and 5 from the 34 a few plays later, and Kaepernick went to Borland, and he picked up a first down with a 6-yard reception. Then on 3rd and 8 from the 42 of San Fran, Kaepernick ended up scrambling for 16 yards to pick up a first down and bring the ball into Giants territory, as it was a first down on the 42. On 2nd and 7, Hyde ran for 7 yards to pick up a first down and make it a first down on the Giants 32. Kaepernick then went to Borland for a 16-yard pass, and now it was a first down in the red zone for the Niners on the Giants 16. But then Frank Gore ended up fumbling the ball, and it was recovered by Bowman. Not that Bowman, the Bowman of the Giants. And so now the Giants had the ball on their own 37 with about 9 minutes left in the first quarter. And on 2nd and 7, they ended up getting the first down with a 20-yard pass from Eli to Randle that brought the ball across midfield into the San Francisco 40. Eli then hit Randle for an 18-yard pass that brought it to the 22, as it was another first down for the G-men. And then Jennings ran for 3 yards. And now, on 2nd and 7 from the 19, Eli dropped back and he hit Larry Donnell for a 19-yard touchdown pass to put the G-Men on the scoreboard first. It was now 7-0 Giants over the Niners. So now the Niners took over with about 7 minutes left in the first. They had it on their own 20, and they would bring the ball across midfield. When on 2nd and 18 from the 41, Kaepernick went to Crabtree, but there was a defensive penalty, a pass interference against Rogers Cromartie, and that would make it a first down on the Giants 24. And the Niners would get into the red zone, but their drive would stall on the 13, and Phil Dawson would come out to kick a 31-yard field goal. It was up, it was good, and now it was New York 7, San Francisco 3, as the Niners cut the Giants' lead to 4. So the Giants would take over now with about a minute left in the first. They had it on the 22, and they would end up punting the ball as they went 3 and out. And then on the final play of the first, they punted it, and after 1 quarter of play, it was Giants 7, 49ers 3. So now to open up the second quarter, the 49ers had the ball on their own 39. They ended up picking up a first down on 2nd and 2 as Frank Gore ran for 16 yards to bring the ball across midfield into the Giants 37. Then on 3rd and 8, Kaepernick hit Crabtree for a 12-yard pass, and that was 3rd and 8 from the 35 of New York, and that was a first down on the Giants 23. But their drive would stall on the 19, and Phil Dawson would come out to attempt his second field goal of the game, this one from 37 yards out. It was up, it was good, and now the Niners had cut the Giants' lead to 1, as the score was now New York 7, San Francisco 6. So now the Giants would take over on their own 25 with about 10 minutes left in the first half. They would pick up a first down when on 3rd and 1 from the 34. Hynoski ended up running for 4 yards, and now it was first down on the Giants 38. Eli dropped back to pass, and he was intercepted by Chris Borland. And so the Niners took control on the Giants 29 with about 8.5 minutes left in the second quarter. They wouldn't be able to pick up a first down, but out would come Phil Dawson to attempt a 44-yard field goal. It was up, it was good, and it was now 9-7 San Francisco over New York as Dawson kicked his 3rd field goal of the game to give the Niners the 2-point lead. So now the New York Giants would take over with about 7.5 minutes left in the first half. The Giants had the ball on their own 29. Then a couple plays later, they were forced with a 3rd and 4 from the 35. Eli dropped back to pass. It was incomplete. Actually, he hit Donnell for a 30-yard pass, but there was a pass interference, and that was declined. So a 30-yard pass to Donnell, even though there was pass interference, that brought the ball across midfield into the San Francisco 35. Then on 2nd and 8 from the 33, Eli hit Randle for a 13-yard pass for the first down. But then on 3rd and 7 from the 17, Eli dropped back and he was intercepted by Wilhoite, and the Niners would take over on their own 15 with about 4.5 minutes left before halftime. Kaepernick fumbled on first down, but he picked it back up and ended up getting a 6-yard gain after the fumble. And so that made it actually 2nd and 8. Kind of a crazy play there. but it was on the 17, and Kaepernick dropped back to pass, and he hit Crabtree for a 25-yard reception. That brought the ball to the 42 for a first down. They would end up punting the ball, though, a few plays later, as they wouldn't get any further than the 41. They actually went backwards, as they lost a yard. So now the Giants would take over with less than 2 minutes left before halftime. They had the ball on their own 9-yard line. They got out of the shadow of their own end zone, picking up some first downs. But then they would end up having to punt the ball from their 34 after 8 plays. So now the Niners would take a knee, and this game would go to halftime. So at halftime, the score was San Francisco 9, New York 7. So now to start the third quarter, the Giants would have the ball, but they would go 3 and out on their first possession of the second half, and the Niners would take over with about 12 and a half minutes left in the third. They had the ball on their own 41. Then on 2nd and 10, Frank Gore ran for 11 yards to bring the ball to midfield on the New York 48. It was a first down. Colin Kaepernick dropped back to pass, and he hit Michael Crabtree for a 48-yard touchdown. And it was now 16-7, Niners over the G-Men. And so now the Giants would take over with 11 and a half minutes still left in the third. They had the ball on their own 41. They would end up getting into San Francisco territory when on 3rd and 6 from the 45. Eli dropped back and hit Parker for a 9-yard pass that made a first down on the 46 of the Niners. Eli then dropped back and he hit Randle for an 18-yard pass that made a first down on the 28. Their drive, though, would stall in the 25, and out would come Brown to attempt a 43-yard field goal. It was up, it was good, and it was now 16-10 as the Giants had cut the Niners' lead to 6 points. So now on the kickoff, there would end up being a fumble, and the Giants would end up recovering. And so now it would be a first down for the Giants on their own 46. But then on 3rd and 9 from the 47, Eli Manning dropped back to pass, and he was intercepted by Reed. And so now the Niners would take over on their own 32 with about a little less than 2 minutes. Well, a few minutes left before, a little less than 2 minutes left before the end of the third. So now the Niners would take over, and they would end up getting to the 32 of the Giants as they cross midfield, and they would go for a field goal, but there would end up being a fumble as they went for a fake field goal, and which was a crazy play. And now the Giants would end up getting the ball back as there was no score. It remained 16-10. So now the Giants had the ball on their own 33, and they would end up bringing the ball across midfield. But then on 4th and 1 from the San Francisco 43, they went for it, and they got stopped short, and that would turn the ball over on downs, as now the Niners would take over on their own 43, and Kaepernick hit Borland. That would pick up 13 yards. So it was now a first down on the Giants' 44, and the third quarter came to a close. And so the score after 3 was 16-10, San Francisco over New York. So now the Niners would start things off in the fourth quarter, but they would end up punting the ball a few plays later. And so now the Giants took over on their own 12-yard line, and there was still about 14 minutes left in this game. They would end up marching down into San Francisco territory, but on 2nd and 5 from the Niners' 32, Eli dropped back to pass, and he was intercepted this time by Culliver. So Eli throws another interception. So now the Niners, with about 10 minutes left in the game, had the ball on their own 21, but after 6 plays, they would punt the ball, and New York would take over on their own 35, and they still had about 6.5 to 6 minutes left. They would actually bring the ball across midfield when on 3rd and 12, Eli hit Randle for a 26-yard pass, but Randle was injured on the play. Then on 2nd and 10, Eli went to Odell Beckham Jr., and the rookie picked up 37 yards. So now it was a 1st and goal on the 4, but a couple of incomplete passes would bring up third down, and a third incomplete pass in a row would bring up fourth down. So it's 4th and goal after 3 incomplete passes. Eli Manning drops back to pass. It's tipped, and who would intercept it but Chris Borland, as he was in the right place at the right time after the tip by Johnson, and Borland reels it in, and that gives the ball back to the San Francisco 49ers. They had it now on their own 2-yard line with about a little less than 5 minutes left on the clock, up by 6 points, and they would just start feeding the rock to Frank Gore, as he would pick up a first down on 2nd and 2 after an 8-yard run on first down. He ran for 3 yards on 2nd down. So now on first down, Kaepernick ended up throwing it to Miller for an 11-yard pass to pick up another first down. It was first down on the 24. That would be it, though, as they would end up punting the ball 4 plays later. And it would be the New York Giants ball with about a minute left on their own 15. So now they had to go 85 yards and score the touchdown to win, as they were down by 6. Eli dropped back, he hit Williams, but he only picked up 4 yards. Now it was 2nd and 6 from the 19 with less than a minute left. An incomplete pass would bring up 3rd and 6, and another incomplete pass would bring up 4th and 6 from the 19. Eli drops back, and it's incomplete. And the San Francisco 49ers defense forces the Giants to turn the ball over on downs. Now Colin Kaepernick took a knee, and this game came to a close as the San Francisco 49ers win on the road in New York with the final score, San Francisco 16, New York 10. And with the win, the Niners are now 6-4 on the season, 4-2 on the road. And the Giants fall to 3-7, 2-3 at home. And in this game, Colin Kaepernick was 15 for 29 with 193 yards passing and 1 touchdown. He also rushed for 24 yards off of 8 carries. Eli Manning was 22 for 45 with 280 yards passing, 1 touchdown, and not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 interceptions. 5. Frank Gore was the leading rusher in this game with 95 yards off of 19 carries, and the leading receiver was Randle. He had 112 yards off of 7 receptions. Rueben Randle. The leading receiver for the Niners was Michael Crabtree with 85 yards off of 3 receptions, one of which was for a touchdown. And the leading tacklers in this game, Jameel McLean had 14 tackles for the G-Men, and Chris Borland had 13 tackles for the Niners. He also had that interception there near the end of the game in the 4th quarter. He actually had 2 interceptions overall, and they actually, out of those 5, Reed and Culliver and Wilhoite had the other 3, as they each had 1. So the Niners defense comes up huge. They shut down Eli Manning. They got 5 interceptions in this game. Big game for the Niners on the road. And the final score, once again, San Francisco 16, New York 10.